Hello, everybody. There really isn't a lot of videos on how to ream out your tuner holes for your guitar. So I thought I'd show this because I didn't know what I was doing when I started this, and nobody really has shown anything. It's pretty easy. Scale of 1 to 10, it's a lot easier than drilling the holes for these Sperzels. Go ahead and show that in there. So anyways, I went ahead and tested this, and I did about, this is an Ippy Lapal, it's about 20 years old too. Don't let this frighten you, these chips in the paint. This was already here before I did this, which actually, it was actually kind of tough working with this. But no complaints, it worked out fine. And I went ahead and did this hole too, so you can kind of see the difference of how big you need to make these holes. I know you can go on there and see the dimensions, like 10 millimeters or whatever, but I really didn't do that. I just kind of played it by feel, and it turned out fine. Also, real quick while we're on this, when it gives you this, let me get this picture. I noticed too, and you can kind of, I'll show you at the end. You have this picture here. I noticed that it didn't really quite, when I put the tuners down to it, I had a hard time getting them in place to where they were straight. Like, even though it said, okay, it needs to be here, or would be here, it really wouldn't come out straight. And I had to put the tuners there kind of instead of using this and drill the holes to try to get them straight. And I still don't, some of them came out straight, some of them didn't. Something you'll kind of have to play with. Also, another thing, I wasn't sure, while we're on these Sperzels, I wasn't sure exactly which way these things, I don't want to move this, but which way these things were supposed to go. So no one really said, is the tuner knob here supposed to go to the neck, or is it supposed to go the other way around? And some people in their pictures, most of them had the machine heads to the neck, and that's the way the Scholar locking tuners are for the other German company, but no one really said anything about this. So I kind of did the tuner pegs closer to the neck here. But I noticed some people didn't have it like that, if you look at pictures on Google. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I'm just going to ream this so some people don't feel as bad. The reamer I got, it's a $10 reamer on Amazon. You know, you got to be careful. You don't really want to drill holes in this because you can split your headstock. Some people say they have a straight drill and they can just go ahead and do it. You know, if you have confidence in it, go for it. But a lot of people split their headstock, so be hesitant about that. Some people just sand these holes to get the hole bigger. You can do that as well. This was $10 on Amazon. Trust me, this taper reamer company, SteelX isn't really paying me anything, or they're not. But yeah, so I noticed that. You know, Stuart Mac is a $100 reamer. This was just fine. This literally did the trick. I had no problems. I'm sure there's better ones out there, but if you just have 2 or 3 guitars, this easily worked fine. One thing to notice too when you start this, one thing I learned, I have a little bit experience in dealing with different types of woods and stuff, but don't, you know, when you're starting out, don't just like push it in there and force it. It can feel like if you get in there, it kind of gets stuck a little bit at the beginning. Just kind of pull it up and just slightly keep going. You know, don't force anything. You don't want to try to damage this. You'll get to a point like after the first couple of times, you can really put some pressure into it and keep going. I don't know if I would advise that, but you can definitely feel a groove after the first three full turns. You can definitely start feeling more of a groove while you're doing it. Makes it a little easier. I did notice too, I put this rubber band on here on the side. This helps so it won't stop from slipping. I actually figured this out on accident, but I put it on here because I wanted to count how many turns it took about. Now that's not a metric system or anything because everybody has different pressures. Some people have different reamers. Some of these are going to be sharper than others. But I noticed it took me about 13 or 14 full spins to get the hole size I needed for the amount of pressure I was putting on. Now that varied. Some holes were different. And it just depends on how hard I did it. And it's just something I was wondering. Because I didn't know if you just did it, you did it like and it was done. And I noticed when I did it, and someone can correct me on this. I'm probably doing this all wrong. I have no idea. I would just do a full turn. I wouldn't just slash it about like that. I would just give it a full turn like it was a drill going in. Another thing too is I did it from the top here. Some people had some different theories on that. But I noticed that the tuner will go inside the hole, no problem. That's not the issue. It's not this right here. The problem it's this. It can't fit in the hole here. It can't go inside. But it can go in the back. So the back's already drilled. At least in this Epiphone, the back was drilled more. I don't know if that's standard. If the person who had this, I bought this used. If the person who had it before me did something with it. I mean, they did something to the paint here, so they did add tuners at one point to the guitar. I just wanted locking tuners for the situation. So yeah, let's get started. So here's what you came for. We're about 6:40 in. Okay. So I did this sitting down. You're gonna have some purists out there that say you need to make sure this is definitely at a 90-degree angle, and I totally am with them. But it really didn't make that big of a difference, and it works just fine either way. I didn't really think this through. Okay. So see, you kind of got stuck, pull out a little bit, just kind of keep going. Probably should have cleaned those wood chippings off, but yeah. This is kind of like a guess and check process. Since I've already done these 6 holes, I have a good figure. You can see where those wood chips are in this reamer here. I kind of already know how deep I need to go with this, so I don't really have to keep guessing and checking. But on the first one, I did like every spin. I would kind of guess to see where it needed to be. And this thing, it really sheds out wood. So make sure you have like a trash can or something when doing this. These are the Sperzel locking tuners I am putting on here. I've never tried them before, so it will be a first. But this isn't the video for that. Again, I know how far I'm going because I'm measuring the distance on the last one to where it's engraved in this reamer with the wood chips. So we're getting close. So okay, now you kind of see. Just gonna blow that out of the way. Okay. Now I'm taking this top part, I'm going to push it. See, you can't really see, but it doesn't really fit all the way down. And don't force it. Like if it doesn't fit, just keep going. Now, some of you may be hesitant about doing this to your lapel if it's a Gibson and not an Epiphone like what I'm dealing with. Really, this isn't bad. This is not bad at all. I would be more concerned about drilling the holes in the back, because that was harder for me to try to get these tuners lined up perfectly, which they're not perfect, but they're pretty close. You see, it's still Still is not all the way. It just needs to drop in because it's got to tie into this. And the reason I'm doing this from the top, some people say do it from the bottom, do it from the top. The problem is with the top here. It'll go in the bottom. The bottom hole is bigger than the top hole. So I just need to do it from the top. And this may be wrong. Someone can correct me. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I read some blogs, I read some people that did it this way. This way seems the way I need it to be, so that piece will fit in. Maybe starting to come out the same. It's still kind of snug. I just kind of want it to drop in there. This may be different too, depending, like if you get like the $100, if you get a nice reamer, tapered reamer, it might make it easier to do this. You may not have to spin it as many times as I'm doing. You just make it may be done. I have no idea. Okay, so now it just drops in and fits. You don't have to try to wiggle it out or anything. It's just, so that's what I want. Now consider this too. This definitely covers up the hole, and you're going to have a washer over it too. So no worries with that. Let's just make sure it fits real quick. Da-da-da-da. It's back there, I think. I had the washer on that. Whoops. Throw this bad boy on at some point and just kind of for the most part. I had a wrench over here. Here we go. Yeah, especially just kind of keep it snug, especially from this. Whoever had this before put on those Gibson collusion tuners or whatever they're called, and which are fine tuners. And apparently you put this too hard, which broke the paint. So be careful while doing this. Alright, so there you go. Everything works out fine. Kind of see the holes in the back, about what they kind of look like. See that big hole? That'll be covered by the other one. I already put it in there, so don't be too afraid with the drill. And that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to show you. It's not too hard. I should have taken that out and showed you the hole. Whoops. As I said, you don't have to use this. Make sure when you're doing it, you probably want to try to get a better 90-degree angle than what I had. There'll definitely be some purists out there that believe that. But I just wanted to say $10, this thing's worked fine. If you have just 3 guitars you need to work around with, this probably works. If you're working with guitars all day, you probably want to invest in something a little better. But this $10 thing, it's called a wood tapered reamer. Bought it on Amazon. I think it was $12 Prime. And you could probably find it cheaper. it seemed to be the best work. So let me try to show you the holes. Here are the holes. That other hole is fine too. I just was impatient when doing this. So, you know, nothing to really worry about. Everything looks okay. Some people maybe either if I'm just going to show you like that. Yeah, no. And honestly, the reaming part of the hole is just making it bigger. That's the easier part. I found that drilling the holes and trying to line up the pegs and getting them straight, that was more the harder part of this video. And there's tons of videos, or there's a couple, that show you exactly how to do that. And it was pretty straightforward. I liked it better lining the tuner up itself than using the picture thing they gave you, the piece of cardboard with the cutouts, but that was just me. So there you go. Everything turns out okay. Everything's good. Just remember at the beginning, be very, very gentle with the first 3 turns. Like, those are the most important. After that, everything gets in a groove. Okay, thanks a lot. How do I turn this off?